In a very 2020 turn of events, this is the second time I'm filming this video because I had some audio issues. So anyway, I tried to freshen up a little bit, but I'm sitting down to share with you all my favorite products of 2020. And really in this video, I wanted to focus on not only my most used products of 2020, but really the products that I discovered in 2020. So here and there are definitely some products that I've loved for a lot longer, but I really wanted to showcase these beautiful products that I have discovered in 2020. While making sure I was prepared for this video, I realized that I really had no concept of time because it feels like I've been using a lot of these products for much longer than I actually have because they're just that good. If I lost some of these products, I would immediately go out and repurchase them because they're just that good. So we're doing full swatches, reviews, demos of all of these products. So I hope that it ends up being super helpful. So if you guys do enjoy it, please make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I would love to have you back. So for my first favorite, I want to preface this by saying I am such a picky concealer person, very much so. In fact, my Maybelline Fit Me concealer has really been my holy grail for a very long time. And I was just at the point where I was trying so many concealers, I just kind of wrote off a lot of them because nothing ever stacked up to my Maybelline Fit Me until that fateful day when I tried the Kosas Revealer Concealer. Being that I'm someone with very dry, dark circles under my eyes, it can be really difficult to find a concealer that doesn't look heavy, that doesn't look cakey, but also gives coverage. It really has to have that perfect balance, and this has everything that I'm looking for. This has a medium coverage and a very natural look. It goes under the eyes very, very smoothly. So if you have scalier under eyes like I do, you don't have to worry about it exaggerating that scaliness, but it also will give you the coverage that you're looking for. I really like that it's a medium coverage because that seems to be what I like. I don't like anything too full coverage because then I feel like it kind of draws attention to my under eye more so than a more medium or light coverage concealer would, but it's not lacking in coverage either. I also like this because it has caffeine, so I feel like it kind of flattens out the under eye area, which I've realized as I've continued to wear concealers that there are plenty of concealers that conceal the under eye, but if you have more hollow under eyes, you have to find a concealer that kind of flattens out the area, and this definitely does that. It doesn't exaggerate the hollowness by any means, which that is what I think actually makes a concealer look really pretty and brightening. This also sets down a touch, so it's not a super dewy concealer, which I really like. It tends to be more of a natural finish. I'm telling you, Maybelline Fit Me has been my #1 for years. The fact that I'm even putting this in the same category as that concealer says enough. I mean, it's not even just a favorite, it's a holy grail concealer. I'm very, very happy I found this. This was a find that I tried out in fall of 2019, but I don't think I really realized that I loved it so much until this year. This is, again, another holy grail find of this year, which is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. What makes this foundation so beautiful is that it's just such a balanced foundation. It has a medium coverage and it has a really creamy look to it. It's not too matte, it's not too dewy, but what makes it really beautiful for so many different people is the kind of reactionary quality that it has. When you're moving the skin and as you continue to wear it, it moves with you. And that's kind of the self-refreshing quality that they mention and they advertise in this foundation. But it never looks heavy, it never looks cakey, and again, as you continue to wear it, you don't find that it separates on the skin. This has to be the most flattering long wear product I've ever used. And I kind of forget that it's a long wear product sometimes just because it doesn't read as long wear on the skin. It's a beautiful satin finish and just the way it looks on the skin is very creamy and it gives you that medium coverage that I like. I really like that. I feel like it covers everything really evenly. It's just one of those foundations that every time I wear it, my skin always looks good. There's a lot of different shades as well. I just feel like this is such a well-rounded, well-thought-out launch. If you're looking for a medium coverage foundation with a really creamy look to it, it's not something that looks really heavy, but it's going to give you coverage. I highly, highly recommend this one. I also find that this has a touch of a blurring quality, like that creaminess looks really flattering on the skin. So if you have more dry skin like me, it'll really help with any texture or pores that you have. I really, really can't say enough good things about this. It's just an absolutely beautiful formula. Another foundation that I recently bought, and I had to include it just because I've been so impressed with it. It is the Makeup Forever Reboot foundation, and I had heard about this all year, and it took me up until this fall to actually try it out. And surprise, surprise, I think that this is an incredible formula. It's very, very unique. So if you're looking for a light coverage foundation or a tinted moisturizer that just gives you that extra something, this is what I recommend you look into. There are a lot of light coverage and tinted moisturizer kind of products, in my opinion, that all feel the same. It's a sheer coverage. Your skin's gonna look a little evened out. Your skin's gonna look nice, but it's not exceptional. And I think that there are a lot of light coverage foundations and tinted moisturizers that are nice, but not exceptional. And this one gives you that extra something. It gives you that kind of je ne sais quoi quality to your skin. It's a very liquidy texture. I actually like to kind of spread it on my face with fingers and then blend it with a dry sponge, and you will notice that it just melts onto the skin. It spreads so evenly and so seamlessly. It's really an elevated skin-like finish. Most of the time I like to go for a more skin-like finish. I like for my foundations to look like skin. It kind of looks like just your best skin day. It has a touch of a blurring quality that I didn't even realize was possible with this kind of light coverage foundation. It's like a light coverage foundation with a built-in like soft focus filter effect. That in combination with how liquidy and easy to blend this is, it just makes for a really elevated experience. And it's one of those kind of light coverage foundations that I was really impressed with. They also call it a satin but radiant finish, which I think is so accurate because it never looks too dewy on the skin, but it just gives you that lit from within look. So next, let's talk about the cream eyeshadow that I'm wearing on my lids. So I recently did a one and done shadow video about my absolute favorites, and this was definitely a front runner from that video. It is the Eyes to Mesmerize from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Oyster Pearl. So this is just such a beautiful cream shadow. If you're someone that loves that beautiful creamy light reflection on the lids, something that looks beautifully emollient but also not glittery or too much, like this is just such a beautifully elegant, sophisticated, balanced looking shadow. This shade in particular is also so nice because it's brightening on my skin. It also has a level of definition. This shade is a little bit more of like a taupey champagne. It's not too cool and it's not too warm. Aside from the shade and just the way it looks on the lids, which I think is like my favorite part about the product, is just how it looks. It's also just really easy to apply. It's more of a creamy, kind of moussey quality, and you can just stick a brush in here or a finger, swipe it on the lids, and you're pretty much done. The fact that I can get like my favorite or one of my favorite eye looks in less than 30 seconds, I think that says it all. You don't just pay for the well thought out shade. You don't just pay for the formula. You pay to be able to get such an elegant, really perfect eye look so quickly with this kind of formula and product. I actually discovered this from my favorite YouTubers pick out my makeup look. I found so many favorites from that video, and this was a recommendation from State of Kate. Really one of my favorite products of 2020, period. Now, a product that I tried out in my Rare Beauty review were the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch blushes. So I have two shades. I have the shade Love and the shade Joy, one from both the matte and the dewy formula. Really liked these when I did my initial review, and it's one of those formulas that makes me want to watch Rare Beauty. It's very unique. This is such a beautiful, very highly pigmented product that blends super seamlessly. And that's something that just really isn't an easy task to complete. You need like 2 dots of this on each cheek, especially the shade Love. This is a very highly pigmented kind of brick shade, but it is so amazing to watch it sheer out onto the skin. As you smooth it out onto the skin, it just blurs wherever you put it and offers that beautiful pop, just a really gorgeous look. It's very skin-like because the actual product is so thin. The formula isn't a super creamy formula, which I've realized I really prefer that. I really like a more thin skin-like formula rather than a super dewy, super creamy formula that kind of sits on top of the skin. Now, that's not always the case with a really creamy formula, but guys, being that I try so many cream blushes, it takes a lot for me to be impressed at this point. I mean, really, if you look at my makeup drawers, I think the one product I have the most of is cream blush. I have so many cream blush and I've tried out a ton of formulas. This absolutely was a standout of 2020 and I highly recommend it, especially if you prefer a cream blush with a little bit more pigment, or you just find that cream blushes in general don't give you the pigment that you're looking for. You will definitely get that beautiful pop of color with these. I also did want to give a very quick shout out to the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, because this has just been my primer of choice for this year. I think if you're looking for that beautiful buttery base product that just makes all the foundation just glide on top of it effortlessly, this is going to be your best friend. I really find that I notice when I'm not using this. I can tell that the foundation could just look that much better. It really is a subtle difference, but you notice it not just in the way that it blends on the skin, but the way it kind of sits on top of it. This gives a very subtle blurring effect, but it's also a really creamy, hydrating formula. There's really nothing quite like it. I just find that it's such a beautiful base product that I'm willing to shell out the money on. This is not really a true 2020 favorite just because I've used it, I think, since 2016, but I did still want to give it a shout out. Let's talk about some more cheek products. So this is a cheek product that I retried this year. Initially, when I first tried it, I was a little bit underwhelmed and just a little bit wishy-washy about it, but they are the Daniel Sandler watercolor blushes. Well, I retried them this year in a couple of more matte formulas, or matte shades, I should say, and it made all of the difference. So I have the shade Caress and then the shade Crush. These shades are, one, absolutely gorgeous. I thought that Caress was going to be a little bit too run-of-the-mill for me. I tend to like a little bit more pop with my cream blushes, but this shade is just really the perfect peachy pink. It's what I have on my cheeks today. And I just found that when I didn't know what to put on my cheeks, I could put this onto my cheeks and it would just like spread and blend so perfectly on the skin. To me, these are like liquid airbrush makeup kind of products. They're super fluid and thin. You can really tell that really translates on the skin, the way they kind of just melt into the other products that you're using. They have like a natural to dewy finish, depending on what products you're working with, and they look really seamless. I don't like the shimmer shades, so make sure if you're trying these out to go with a matte shade. In my opinion, that's where the formula really shines. If you're a fan of that really seamless skin-like cream blush look, these are definitely for you. Now let's talk about a hidden gem at the drugstore. This is kind of like my little secret affordable product that I think really rivals a lot of higher end lip products. These are the Chapstick Total Hydration Tinted Lip Oils. I did an entire video about lip oils, kind of the best and worst formulas at the drugstore, and these by far were the ones that really stood the test of time and were the formula that I kept reaching for. They really feel like a liquefied lip balm. They have a really beautiful balmy quality to them. They don't feel super thin like a lot of lip oils do, and because they are a little bit of a thicker formula, they appear differently on the lips. Some lip oils I just find to be too thin. They'll kind of settle in the lip lines. If there's pigment to them, that pigment will then kind of settle into the lip lines. And sure, they might offer a really nice healthy shine, but these fill in all of those lines of your lips. Your lips look bigger, they feel healthier, they look really juicy, and they feel comfortable. It's not a sticky feeling, there's no residue that's left behind, and they almost feel like a lip balm replacement. Like your lips always feel really nice after you apply them. So to me, it's a really nice alternative as well to a lip gloss. If you find that your lips are a little bit drier, but you still want that beautiful, translucent, pretty pigment to them. Again, your lips look really healthy and just bigger when you have them on. So I just feel like this is such an underrated product, especially for the price. I'm not a huge fan of the packaging. I do wish that it was in a kind of doe foot applicator thing, but the tubes are fine. The formula 100% makes up for it, and they smell like watermelon, like a Sour Patch Kid watermelon flavor. It's very nice. More cream products. I mean, this isn't really a surprise for a lot of you. Cream products are kind of my bread and butter on this channel. 2 products from Fenty. This is an old favorite that I've talked about many a time. It is the Fenty Matchstick in the shade Mocha. If you're looking for a completely matte, very thin and skin-like cream bronzer that can really emulate skin, and you're looking for that definition, I highly, highly, highly recommend this. This is maybe my favorite bronzing product ever. Aside from the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer, I love that one as well. But this just gives you, like, I can't even tell you how thin and traceless it looks on the skin. It really emulates that true bronzed look because the formula is so thin. By the way, this is a favorite. This is my e.l.f. small stipple brush. If you're looking for like the perfect tool for cream makeup, this is it. It's like $3. I could not recommend this brush enough. But what I usually do is just take a little bit from the stick onto the brush and just buff it into the skin. Perfectly blends every single time. And again, if you're looking for something very thin, I definitely recommend this one. But I have to tell you, I have really, really been loving the Cheeks Out bronzer from Fenty. You can see like my full review on those. I was much more impressed with the bronzers because this is just a really easy everyday bronzer. The formula is nice and creamy. It's the bronzer I have on today. It's really easy to just take a sponge, pick up some product, and get a really creamy, seamless bronzed look. And again, with all Fenty products, the shade range is really nice too. So you can find that perfect bronzed shade. So I think it's not just the formulas within Fenty's line that ends up giving you a really nice bronzed look. It's also the shades. You can really kind of tune into exactly the kind of shade that you want. So yeah, when it comes to bronzing products, I think Fenty definitely takes the cake. And next, let's talk about 3 mascaras that I absolutely love. Starting off on the most natural side, we have the Covergirl Lashblast Volume. This has been a favorite for many, many years. This isn't really a 2020 favorite. It's just kind of my always, all the time favorite mascara. It gives you a really fluffy looking lash. It's a very clean volume, but you still get that kind of fluffy look. There are definitely some kind of more clean definition mascaras that just look kind of awkward. Let me know if you guys know what I mean. They kind of just look like long, spidery lashes. The look that I like to go for is a really fluffy looking lash that has definition but no clumps. And I do want that volume and I want that weight to the lashes, but I don't want it to look heavy. And this is just, it's a classic for a reason because every single time I wear it, It's zero clumps, it's fluffiness, it's definition, it's volume, and it is more on the natural side, but I have to say that that's kind of my everyday lash look. I would rather my lashes kind of frame my eyes rather than take away from my eyes, if that makes sense. But let's say I want something a little bit more of kind of in the middle of the road. I would go in with my Roen Cake Mascara. So I've really been loving this one because it's a little bit more of a coy look. It's a little bit more lengthened, a little bit more angelic, a little bit more black. So it gives me just a touch more volume and fluff. So it's really nice for a more middle of the road look. If I'm going for like a soft smoky eye, this really complements that beautifully, but I can wear it on its own and it still looks really flattering. I did a video comparing the Kosas, the big mascara, to this one, and this one was the one that I ended up really loving. The length was there. It's a really lengthened look with rich black pigment and volume. So if you do like that more kind of coy, like doe-eyed lash look, I definitely recommend this one. And probably for like my most volumized look, I will go in with my Essence Lash Princess Mascara. So it took me a long time to try out an Essence mascara, which I feel kind of stupid about because this is so good. This again was another find that I found from my favorite YouTubers pick out my makeup. This was a recommendation from Shaliza from In Search of the Glow. Guys, when I tell you, I was blown away when I put this on for the first time. Like, I was kind of speechless because when you apply this, it's really a false lash effect. It's what I have on my eyes today. My mascara is not going to be perfect right now just because, again, I've been wearing this makeup for a while now, but it just lifts them. It lifts them all the way up, completely fans out your lashes. They're rich and dark and pigmented, and it gives you the volume like very quickly. I don't feel like you need to build this up whatsoever. It's a little bit more of a wet formula as well, so that volume comes very quickly. It's still like a false lash effect for someone that prefers a more fluffy and natural looking lash. It's not gonna look really clumpy on the lids or on the lashes. It's just absolutely beautiful. And for the price, you really can't beat it. I highly recommend this one, especially if you do like a little bit more drama. But let's say that you just want really simple, easy, pretty makeup. That is where I would recommend the Ulta Beauty Bouncy Cream Eyeshadow. So this is a thinner, more kind of squishy texture, very reminiscent of the Super Shock shadows from ColourPop, but they're thinner than that. And these, I think, have less base pigment to them. They have a very soft base pigment and then just a beautiful fine shimmer throughout them. So they make for a really easy everyday shadow. You can just take a finger, swipe them on the lids. There's something to be said about really simple, straightforward, and pretty makeup products. These are just so easy. They have a really great reflection to them. They look elegant on the lids, but they're just really simple and straight to the point. You can't mess up an eyeshadow product like this. It's always going to look pretty. But it's also not one of those kind of products where you're like, why did I even apply it? Like, it gives you enough impact, but it's still more of a soft look. So I think these are really pretty. I don't really hear people talking about them, which I'm surprised at. I think a lot of Ulta Beauty's makeup is kind of overlooked. Another gem from Ulta are the matte cream eyeshadows. So here's the thing. I tend to prefer a more glossy looking lid color. So something like this one from Charlotte Tilbury, I really think is pretty and glossy. My Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal top coat in the shade Peach. Honestly, I probably could have mentioned that in today's video. I like to go with a really creamy and glossy looking lid color. And a lot of the times those shadow products aren't super long wearing, but here's my trick at getting a really glossy and pretty eye look that's a little bit more crease resistant. It's these. These are the kind of secret. So these are beautifully even pigmented matte cream liquid shadows. I just take them into the crease so the crease will not crease on me, but I'll still be able to get that really creamy and glossy look on my actual lid. So I think a liquid shadow can be just a really awkward product. I've tried out a lot that, one, either dry down too fast, so when you go and build them up, they end up looking choppy because some areas have already dried down. That I think is a really unflattering look. Two, they could also kind of dry out, like they kind of flake off in an awkward way or cake up, but these do none of that. The formula is so high end to me. I love that they're really blendable, but they stay put once they've set down. The pigmentation is even and beautiful, and they're easy to work with. And that's really, really important with me in a kind of defining shadow like this. I just wish that there were more shades. Ulta, please come out with more shades. Now, let's talk about my favorite lip product of 2020. If not my favorite lip product, period. It is the Roen Liquid Lip Balm in the shade Charlie. When I first did my full-on review of this lip product, I described it as kind of like a stained glass effect for the lips, and I think that that still really rings true. So this is a liquid lip balm formula. It's a very thin formula, but it feels plush. It feels comforting, but it's not too thick, it's not too thin. So right away you get this really plush, perfect feeling lip product when you apply it. It's nice that it feels comforting, but it just doesn't feel like a really gloopy kind of product. Sometimes I just don't want to notice my lip product when it's on the lips. And this is definitely a product that just feels really comfortable and you kind of just forget it's there. I'm still amazed every time I put it on. Like, I'm not even exaggerating, guys. It just gives the lips such a soft effect. It has a little bit of like a jelly kind of translucent quality, so you can see how the color defines the lips. The pigmentation isn't really overwhelming, and once it's applied, your lips just look plush and healthy. This isn't a really glossy product. Like, I would say the Chapstick tinted lip oils are more glossy than this is. This is just a soft glossiness, a really beautiful softening quality to the actual look of the lips. It's really just the perfect stained glass effect lip oil, lip balm product. It's just absolute perfection. Another formula that I was really impressed with this year is this very dirty compact. It is the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream Blush. I should say it's also a powder blush as well. So the whole idea behind this, you have the powder that you apply first, and then you go on top with the cream blush. So I was skeptical at first of how that would work. That really goes against a lot of the things that we are taught in makeup. We're usually not taught to apply creams on top of powders because they can kind of collect and cling, but this just works so beautifully. I just feel like the formula and the way that these formulas work together is so innovative. Now, the powder itself is incredibly finely milled. It has a very soft blurring quality. It just shears out so exceptionally well. And it's not one of those kind of silicone feeling powders that looks heavy on the skin. I do find that some more silicone heavy powders can look heavy, but this one is not that at all. This just gives you that perfect flush of color, and it's more of a soft kind of peachy color. But then they give you this beautiful coral pop. Very bright, and it gives you kind of that juicy pop, but it's a very thin formula, and it's not super emollient. When you put your finger into the pan, it melts and works with you, but when you put it out onto the cheeks, it doesn't move around the powder. It kind of just becomes one with it, and they end up kind of forming their own thing together. I really love this formula, and I think that the shade Do We Know Her is just a knockout, a standout. It's really pretty. I did try the shade She's So LA, and I found that that one didn't blend as effortlessly, so I would say if you like this kind of shade, I would go with Do We Know Her. Another formula that I was really impressed with this year are the color fixes from Danessa Myricks. This is the cream color in Celebration, and then I also have the color fix Glaze, which is just basically a basic kind of lip gloss glaze product. I don't think there's anything as special about the glazes themselves, but these long wear paints are where it's at. So if you're looking for a super pigmented, long wear kind of paint product that you can use all over the face as a really kind of multi-use product, you really can't beat these. Celebration works the best as kind of an eyeshadow product because it's more of that kind of shimmering shade. But I'm telling you, if you're looking for that perfect long wear cream shadow, look no further because these last so long. In fact, I actually did an entire video. It was my autumnal glossy lid look. And when I applied both of these to my lids, it was somehow like a long wear glossy lid look. Like applying a gloss on top, it didn't crease. Like these are so pretty. For that reason, they really hold up well over time. Now, because they're so pigmented, you kind of have to get used to that, and they are thinner. If you're used to wearing like a Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize, it might just take you a little bit more time to get used to this formula, but it's absolutely well worth it. I just find that the Color Fix line is so unique. I can't wait to try other shades. An eyebrow product that gives me a really fluffy eyebrow look is the Flexi Brow from M Cosmetics. So for a long time, I was a clear pomade person. I still love a good clear pomade if I'm being honest, but this gives me the look of a pomade in a gel formula. I haven't liked a clear brow gel in the past just because I felt like it's a little crunchy, it looks a little shiny in the brows, and as a whole, I just felt like it didn't give me as much of a volumized kind of fluff to my brows, but this really pushes them up and gives them that fluffiness with a matte finish. And it also looks really weightless in the brows. It doesn't look like a lot of product sitting in the brows, which is another kind of pet peeve I have. I don't like when my brows look loaded up with product. This is just an excellent palette. I've recommended it so many times on my channel, and I have to say that when you guys ask me what is on my eyes and what I did with my eye look, a lot of the times it's this palette, and I think you guys notice the look it gives because it's just so unique. It's a cream shadow palette. It's really nice to be able to play with textures. They have more of these satin shades. The glitter topper is like nothing I've ever tried. The palette doesn't lean too warm or too cool, and it just gives you the coolest like model off duty undone sort of eye looks. It's really just like an effortless, cool eye look kind of formula that is so easy to use, and it just gives you this beautiful, sheeny, creamy, glossy looking lid color. Really nothing like them, and it's been a palette that when I can't think of anything else to do, I always reach for this, and the looks always end up looking good. So I'm gonna keep using it, and I am really excited to see what new color stories they come out with as well, because that color story I just found to be really on point. I'm not sure if I talked about this already. Well, I did earlier today when I already filmed this. But this is the Pro Shadow 18 brush from Sephora. So if there's one brush from this year that I've used consistently and I like head over heels fell in love with, it is this one. This is like the perfect defining pencil brush, like do it all brush for cream shadow. And honestly, I use this with powder shadows too, and it works just as well. It's the perfect shape because you can just place it right under the lash line and it smokes everything out perfectly. You can use it to really deepen up the crease, but it's fluffy enough that if you did put it into the crease to do more of a general blending, it can still do that work. But it's dense enough to really pack on pigment. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. And we have the 24/7 Glide On Pencil from Urban Decay in the shade Whiskey. So everyone needs a basic brown liner. This brown liner is just perfect. It makes my green eyes pop. It's blendable, and I really like a more smudgy kind of pencil product. I don't like a really stiff kind of pencil that can't be blended into the shadows that I'm working with. This one's smooth. It's really easy to apply. It's never choppy. Just something that's really good to have. And I notice when I can't find it, I'm like, damn it, where's my pencil? I hope that you guys found today's video super helpful. So before you go, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And let me just say, I just wanted to thank you guys for all of the support and the love that you guys have shared with me on my channel this year. I'm wishing you all a wonderful new year, and I will see you in my next one.